Welcome back. I'm now joined by Bronwyn Eckhart, who is the brand manager for Raise Corp as well as the Pitch and Polish brand. Bronwyn, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Pitch and Polish is doing its 10th year this year, okay? And I want to talk about how it's become such an icon within the marketplace. But can you take us, can we start at the beginning and tell us what is Pitch and Polish?
Okay, so Pitch and Polish is a program designed to teach entrepreneurs how to pitch effectively to investors.
Okay.
How we do this is in a very fun, interactive workshop that has a competition element. And the whole idea with Pitch and Polish was to really create a world-class event that is a world-class production, but still get the message across about what we're trying to teach, which is how to pitch to an investor, because there's a lot of good ideas, that's a lot of money, but the one's not speaking the other one's language.
And just that lack of connection, so helping them get the message across, really. Okay.
Exactly.
So 10 years ago, okay, given that this was always the message, and it's still the message today, 10 years ago, tell me about those first couple of days, the idea, the first event.
Wow, the first event was actually a pretty cool event. We were in Rustenburg, I remember it quite clearly. And I remember it very clearly because in the first year, it was also the event with the highest number of attendees. So the idea came about originally from Raise Corp's founder, Lon Raise, where he wanted to come up with an idea of how to then negate the world crisis of unemployment. And so teaching entrepreneurs how to pitch effectively to investors, he thought would enhance an entrepreneur's ability to get investment and so create more entrepreneurs. Okay. And in year one, we, I think the only thing that we kept from year one was the logo. Everything else we got rid of after year one because we learned, and also I had a vision in my head of what I wanted this to look like. Okay. And in year one, we started off, we had, it was actually, I don't know if I can say crappy on TV, but it was really just very subtle and not quite the production we were looking for, but it was year one, we had to figure this thing out, tweak it, see how it's going to work. Year. Exactly. So we had to learn what this thing was so that we could then take the vision and put it into effect. So year one was very much learning about it. Yeah. And from year two onwards, it was about building the brand.
So there were two things that you said you held on to from that first event, and one was the logo and the other was the vision. I want to talk about the logo first because it has endured 10 years.
Exactly.
And in 10 years, the world has changed a lot. How did you make sure that, you know, it was something that would still be relevant 10 years later?
Well, I think that is the trick, is trying to come up with something that is a representation of your brand, but that isn't going to date, so that you don't have to keep changing it and then people get confused. Is it not? So we were quite careful in selecting, as you can see on my shirt, the fonts that we use and the imagery that we used to make sure that it didn't date. And also something as silly as making sure that so it is a sponsored program, and so we had to keep in mind that whoever our title sponsor is, their logo needed to be able to fit it within the Pitch and Polish logo, but still keep it fresh and funky and not date it. So yeah, we've been quite lucky, I think, and we're able to add on little additives, like this year it's celebrating 10 years, so we added the little tagline onto it, and I think we've been really lucky with that, and we've trademarked it as well. So.
I want to talk about the trademarking, but I first want to go to the vision, okay? How important is it to the brand to have a clear vision from the beginning?
I think it's very important because once you start building your brand, you don't want to keep chopping and changing, and then one day it looks like this, the next day it looks like that. You want people to become accustomed to the brand and what they're gonna and what they can expect, and how it's going to look and how it's going to feel, and this is what it's about. So it's very, very important to have a clear vision. I know for me in year two of Pitch and Polish, my vision was very, very clear in terms of, and obviously it has evolved slightly. Yep. So over the years, we do tweak it every year that we run the program just to try and keep it as fresh as we can. The learning itself stays the same, but we add little touches and little elements here. For instance, something as simple as white draping in the background of the stage. And so each year we do evolve, but we keep the essence of the brand the same.
You talked about trademarking, okay. Why was trademarking important?
So Pitch and Polish is, as you said, 10 years. It's the granddaddy of pitching competitions. And as with any brand, at some point, someone's going to try and copy you.
Well, any successful brand.
Any successful brand, exactly. And so the precipitation to actually get it trademarked was the fact that someone had tried to copy us.
Okay.
And so we went the trademark route because we were working hard at building this brand. We didn't want someone else to come in and then confuse our entrepreneurs as to what is what and what is pitch and polish and what's not pitch and polish. And it's actually stood us in good stead. We had a situation 2 years ago where once again we were being copied, where they literally took the name Pitch and Polish and tried to run their own program called Pitch and Polish. And we were able to send, because we had protected ourselves, we were able to send a lawyer's letter, cease and desist. And yeah, it's interesting. I've just discovered that there's another competitor out there who's just copied us once again. But once you have established your brand, it is important to protect it and make sure that obviously with us, with it being Pitch and Polish and the kind of program that it is, we can't trademark the learning or trademark, there isn't anything to, like certain IP you can register and stuff like that. But we did as much as we could, which was trademark the name, trademark the logo, trademark even the tagline, which is setting the stage for entrepreneurs.
So we're 10 years on. How would you say is the biggest change from where you started to this year's competition?
Sure, I think the biggest change is it's mostly year on year. What's interesting is seeing the different trends.
Yeah.
And seeing how that stays consistent actually with what is out there, what is happening in the world will translate into what kind of entries we get for the competition in terms of business ideas. But what has changed is more just, again, how we tweak the brand itself, how we try and make it more of an experience for the entrepreneurs that attend.
Yeah.
And in year one, we had 40 entrepreneurs at every event maybe. This year we've just had to close Johannesburg because we were on 1,700 registrations.
And the venue can hold?
550.
Slightly oversubscribed. We might have a challenge on that day. You also manage various other Raise Corp brands.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
What would you say are the challenges with managing different types of brands?
So, it's quite interesting. I manage 3 very, very different brands. So Engine Pitch and Polish is a workshop and competition program that's run once a year, and it's 10 years old, and we've built a brand that is known. Raise Corp is the other brand that I manage. That's also been around for 20 years and has gone through some changes.
Yes.
And so it's basically maintaining that and maintaining our good stature within the entrepreneurial community. The other brand that I manage, it's quite interesting. It's Radley Private School in Randburg, which is owned by Raise Corp. So it's a private school where we try and instill entrepreneurial learning within everything that we do within the school curriculum. And Radley actually went through a brand change last year. So that was very interesting. We took it from a very schoolified look and feel and changed it to more where it's still a school, but it's more entrepreneurial, more corporate, more theatre, more hotel almost.
More experience.
More experience, exactly. And that was quite interesting because the one thing that you have to remember when you change a brand is that it's not just you changing the logo.
Yeah.
There's everything that you have to think of, from stationery to signage to a whole host of things. So it's been an interesting experience.
So we've got about 2 minutes left. What would you say are the key things for entrepreneurs to remember in building their own brands?
So, you hit the nail on the head earlier when you said remain true to your vision. Remain true to your vision, but not so much so that you are stuck. Be aware of how your market perceives your brand. You might need to tweak it along the way, and that's okay. But know what your vision is, try and stick to it, but still listening to your market and tweaking it where needed.
Okay, so just as a final little wrap-up question, pitch and polish. Which towns are we going to this year?
Okay.
Yeah, and
well,
what are the special ones?
I'm not going to mention Johannesburg because we are full, and that is coming up. But the other towns that we're going to are Port Elizabeth, Durban, Bloemfontein, Cape Town, Rustenburg and Burgersfort. We're going to be in Burgersfort for the first time, which is interesting. And then for your viewers, we are also hosting on the 10th of August in celebration of Women's Month, a women's only pitch and polish in Johannesburg in partnership with UN Women. And I do just want to mention for those who want to attend, they can just go onto the Pitch and Polish website. It is a free event thanks to Engen Petroleum and Nedbank. And it is a world-class production. So that's where we're going to, and I hope to see them.
And the great thing is, of course, since Joburg is closed, it gives the women of Joburg another shot at it.
Exactly.
And I'll just add that I'll be facilitating
Yes,
that one. So
it'll be female facilitator, female delegates, female contestants, and a female-only judging panel, with gents to assist on the day, as in they're the helpers.
They'll do the heavy lifting.
Exactly.
Bronwyn, thank you so much for once again coming through and for unpacking a lot of things that I think people didn't get about their brand.
Thank you so much.
After the break, I wrap up and give you some tips on how to build your brand and how to keep it relevant. Join me for that.